Hello, welcome to Neato Podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Josh.
And today's episode is talking Endgame.
You know, the funny thing is I put all my notes on my other Mac and it didn't sync.
Oh, I got another Mac. I'm rich.
I got another Mac.
So I'm just going to do this thing full out of...
My other extremely overpriced laptop.
So are you, I guess you're leading the charge on this one, right? Like last week it was Adam with the memes, and this week it'll be,
there's no charge to lead. I was just going to walk through like the characters.
I was going to wear a Batman costume because that's how little I know about that movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We were going to come in full cosplay.
Yeah.
It would have been hilarious. I would have come in as like Fat Thor. That would have been
Roll the tape of us in full cosplay.
Can you do
There's
that?
no tape. There's no tape.
There's no tape.
Sorry, guys. Try to find it.
No, I just thought it would be cool to, it's the biggest movie, the biggest opening weekend ever.
Did
for
it
any
break?
movie.
Did it break that?
Now
record?
it's been long enough. I think it has to finish its run in theaters before we can say.
Because Avatar still holds that title, right?
Right.
Of,
but
most
regardless,
gross.
it's up there and it might actually beat Avatar.
So,
I thought it would be worth talking about.
How much longer does it have? Like, how long was Avatar in theaters? 'Cause I know it was in for
Too long.
more than the average movie was. So is that... I know sometimes that's why it's credited. Or I guess people give that example to take it away from Avatar.
Right.
Saying that it was in theaters for a year.
So
Of course it's
Avengers
gonna
is
have-
currently at 1.519 billion, and Avatar is 2.788. So that's going to be pretty tricky to beat.
How long was it in theaters, though, is my question.
So, of the Marvel, for
That's
sure.
just all of the Marvels, yeah.
Let's say box office all time. So, Avenger holds the most. Endgame has 36 records that it broke.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Opening weekend worldwide.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, worldwide,
Yeah.
1 billion.
They love Avengers over in China. China's like the second, isn't it the biggest market for film?
Probably.
Asia, yeah. Well, I mean, even domestically, like me and Brandon we went to the big expensive one.
Yeah.
So that's like double the ticket price. So we actually only saw it once, but basically paid the movie people for two.
I wonder how that works. I wonder,
Oh yeah,
How,
it's like
like,
it's a base ticket price that they
different-
go off of.
like, as far as the film itself, what do they get? Because a lot, what you guys were paying for was that plush service and, the big chairs and the waiting, the waiters and all that stuff. So
Right.
I wonder, like,
I had a burger.
do I get...
I had a
That's
burger.
incredible.
I had tacos. They were delicious.
Let's talk about that.
My wife
How was your
ordered
experience
mozzarella
of
sticks.
eating food and getting served during a film?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm not one of those that like goes to like a movie theater and if somebody stands up or like goes to the bathroom or uses their phone next to me, I get like pissed off. Like it's like
You wouldn't get pissed off if they went to the bathroom next to you.
no.
Because I would.
Just like
Wait, I thought you were saying because you do that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, like you would go to the bathroom.
No, I bring a diaper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's be real. I
I
can't
mean,
miss the movie.
that movie was 3 hours long.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But no, I thought
We'll
it
come
was.
back to that. We'll come back to a controversy we've come up with where someone left during what they, insisted it was a good time to go to the bathroom during the movie, and we
Certain
found out
somebody.
later that it was absolutely not the best time to go. But we'll get back to that later.
But no, I mean, Adam and I we paid, it's like $20 for a ticket but it's a small room. It's got like the super nice surround sound, I guess like Dolby something or other.
Brought our
and-
wives too,
yeah.
so that's like more tickets purchased for them.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And then we ate, I mean, it was really good. The food wasn't expensive. It was like $10-12 a person. And I enjoyed it.
I think my
and-
ticket was like $12, maybe.
So as far as the whole, was the experience different, or how does it compare to just watching in a normal
Yeah.
theater? I think you get distractions either way sometimes. If it's a movie like this that attracts just everybody, you're gonna have kids who are just kind of yelling. You're gonna have people who don't know what's going on, and so it kind of balances itself out. I think where with one, you're just sitting in a chair and you're just watching the movie. The other one, you're sitting in a big thing and you're eating and stuff like that. But the waiters and waitresses are still kind of walking around, like standing right in front of you, like, what do you want to order now, or whatever. So you really just have to pick which you want, like which evil or which.
Yeah, like you pay obviously not as much to have like just to go in and watch it, but like for me, I was like, it's gonna be 3 hours. Our movie time was like right when like there wasn't enough time from like getting off of work to like go and get dinner, and it's like a Friday night, and like usually Friday night is like date night, so we go out and like go somewhere nice, and we're like, well, let's just eat there.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had food there before, just like before we went and saw a movie, and it was really good. So
I like that aspect because Casey falls asleep if we don't go to a movie that's like starts at 7 or 7:30.
yeah,
So that's nice, but overall, like I did it at the Warren too. I went in the balcony seating,
which is essentially
different,
the same
but
thing.
they're still serving you food. The seating is different, but it was a cool experience. But I did it for Beauty and the Beast, so it was like I didn't care as much. You know what I mean?
It's a very bizarre movie
Avengers,
to do it for.
I wouldn't have done it. But
I've
already done it before.
You wouldn't have done it because you would be scared to miss something, or
No, just because I don't like
don't
the
care as
interruptions.
much?
I don't like
Okay.
the interruptions.
Yeah.
And this, I would say, I mean, Adam, you can probably speak to it maybe for yourself, but I would say you're probably the biggest Marvel fan out of the three of us.
Maybe.
Like, you probably know the most of the, like, canon or Marvel universe.
A little bit.
Are you
I've
just
seen
being
all
modest?
of them. I've seen every Marvel movie, I think.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to think of one that I haven't seen. I don't think there is.
You saw Thor: The Dark World?
I saw Thor: The Dark World in theaters.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
yeah. So, yeah, you win.
Yeah, you're definitely.
I don't think I've seen any Marvel movie in theaters except this one, Endgame. And my wife hates me.
Really?
For it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
She loves.
That's
like,
interesting. So we're kind of like on the opposite. That'll be a good.
You guys are on
perspectives.
opposite poles, and I'm kind of just in the middle.
Good.
Yeah. I don't like going to the
Perfect.
movies in general. Like, I'm not a movie theater person. I'm like, I'll just wait till it comes
Why is
out
he
on
here?
Redbox
So with
and then
that
I'll rent it.
sentiment, I think movies were made to be in a theater. So for me, I would take the other side of that of like, I've seen trailers and stuff with like really good headphones or like really good speakers at home, and it doesn't compare to like what you experience in the theater.
Yeah.
Just like the rumble and like, oh, this is how it was meant to be shown. Or this,
Yeah.
like I get it now.
Well, I agree. I think there's certain things like Endgame was one of those where it's like it's probably going to be super epic. Let's go see it in theaters. But
Well, when you have a scene where there's 50,000 characters or people or whatever on a single frame,
yeah, you need
if you
to
watch
have
that on it, even if you watch it on like a
On your
55
phone
inch,
or
it's just not the same.
Yeah.
Definitely not on the phone.
There's a director out there. I think it's I forget his name. The guy that did like he has really weird hair. He did like Eraserhead and look up oh man. Anyway, he has this rant. It's like a classic rant about how he just gets so pissed on that people watch movies on phones. Yeah, look up that one. It's David Lynch. That's who it is. Click on David Lynch. He has this rant about how people watch movies on their phones and how it's like they're not meant to be on a phone. And his movies are always super weird and bizarre. You had like Twin Peaks and Mulholland Drive and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like really bizarre stuff.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think just from like a really basic like sound level and like I don't know. I've noticed things in theaters on stuff that I had seen on phones. Like
You feel like it's
previously.
both? Is it more so the visual or the sound or both?
Well, both. Yeah, I don't know though. I think with I think they're definitely made with more like theatrical like projector considerations in mind than with like a retina display or like something
Yeah.
like that. But and you kind of see it the way they're intended because they work closer with the theater projector people than they do with like the manufacturer of my television at home too. So I don't know. I just think
And a lot of people have that terrible motion blur setting, auto motion blur,
Yeah.
just left on default.
Mhm.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, we watched. I forgot that I had used game setting on my television
Yeah.
when we watched one of the most recent Game of Thrones episodes, and the whole time I was like, something just seems off. And then I
just
went
looks
into
like a soap
settings,
opera.
and I was like, oop, it's like auto motion plus or something. It's like,
I'm gonna put it.
so
Yeah.
bad.
Disclaimer: if anyone doesn't know what that is, go to your TV settings and turn it off.
Yeah.
If you're watching movies with that on,
It's pretty bad.
You're just robbing yourself of the experience, in my opinion. It makes it look like the news.
Yeah.
It makes it look like 60 frames per
60p.
second. I don't know how it does it, but it's awful. And I for a while I thought all the new TVs had it baked in. I didn't realize it was a setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not going to buy a new TV. I
had
want everything to look 60p.
a friend in college who bought a brand new, it was like a 50-inch TV like that, and it was when those were first being popular, and he was watching The Lord of the Rings on it, and I'm like, oh no, it made The Lord of the Rings look like a home movie.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
like, it just like, it has this weird, like, FPS.
Well, I think what it is it somehow gets rid of motion blur, and motion blur is part of why 24p looks the way it does
Yeah, if you
versus like 30 or 60.
when you're shooting something and you're shooting what your shutter speed is, it's specific and for a reason. Like if you've got, like if you're watching Saving Private Ryan, and Lord of the Rings is probably a good example too, because there's a lot of action and fight scenes. Like you're shooting at a higher shutter, so that way you feel like the aggressive like action, and like it's just like, you know, way more pulls you into it. But then with that motion blur, it just smooths it all out, and it's a little bit.
Specifically with those two movies you mentioned, there's scenes like deliberately in those, like that, what is it, the Omaha Beach scene in the very first scene in Saving Private Ryan. They intentionally like change the shutter angle or shutter speed to kind of like the part when it starts getting like he starts thinking he's gonna die, and it starts kind of like getting
Slowing
like
down.
skippy. Like that was intentional. So I would imagine that kind of thing would mess with like what the director even
It
wanted
just
to do in the
perfectly
first place.
smooths it out.
Yeah,
And so it's
it's
just like an awkward thing of him standing there, like looking past the camera.
Yeah.
They do that with like Aragorn and Lord of the Rings too all the time. But
It should, and it's every shot. Every time that person starts to move, you notice it. Like,
Yeah.
If you're like a film person, you're like, what is happening?
Oh yeah, I can look at something like on any, and I can tell immediately if it's 60 frames or 24, and I'm just like, and it's like all, you know, television stations that go out and shoot something for their clients.
Yeah.
It's always at like on a broadcast camera, and it just looks
And
awful.
I've heard people like it for like sports and stuff like that, and I'm sure that's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe, but not for movies.
so what is the purpose of that? It's like to help with video games, like a shooter or something.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but-
it's so like a lot of games will have like the TV will have game mode, and I don't know what it does. I just know it decreases like input lag from your controller to your television, and that's part of whatever that setting is. At least on my
Probably just-
TV, it's just auto.
You
Like
can see the people you're shooting better.
yeah.
So what about you, Adam? Back to Avengers. How many Marvel films have you seen? Not even in theaters, just at
I
all.
mean, I've probably, if we can pull up a
See how many-
list.
yeah, pull up a list of them.
Is your computer gonna die?
Oh yeah, let me plug it in.
Yeah, pull up just a list. Maybe, yeah, Wikipedia will probably have just like a texted, yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, there they are. The Infinity Saga, Phase 1. Oh yeah, see, Tackett, we are about to start Phase 4,
Okay.
apparently. We were talking about that.
Yeah, I
What
can
what
remember.
phase is this?
Oh, the new Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay, Iron Man, I'll just get on the list. I guess it'd be easier to tell you the ones I haven't seen. I haven't seen Thor: The Dark World, so that's the first one that I haven't seen.
Okay.
Mhm.
I haven't seen. No, I've seen Winter Soldier. It was just a long time ago. I haven't seen Ant-Man. I haven't seen either of the Ant-Man.
Okay.
There's two.
Yeah, there's two.
So I know nothing.
I actually only just recently saw Doctor Strange. I haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay, so I guess I've seen all of them except the Ant-Man's, Thor: The Dark World. But I think only like 3 or 4 of them I've seen in theaters. So the other ones were just kind of
Yeah.
sometime after.
One thing I'm noticing looking at this list, I've seen the only one I have, it's like a half and half. I've seen the Winter Soldier, but I fell asleep in it and woke up like at the end.
I
Were you
heard,
in a theater?
Yeah, I was in a theater and it was like late at night.
Dang.
I heard
Yeah.
a lot of people say before the more recent Phase 3 ones that got really good, like probably starting at like Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. Everyone would say the Winter Soldier was like the best one.
Yeah, I know I need to rewatch it because
Really?
it's apparently good.
It's apparently like where they started to really up the writing, and it has like a lot of twists. And
Well,
a lot of
That's with like
so-
Bucky and right.
The reason
it's
is
like an espionage Cold War.
That's
kind
right.
Of thing.
The reason is that's directed by the Russos, and the Russos directed Endgame.
Yeah, the rest of them.
Oh, okay.
So like, the reason that Infinity War, Endgame are so good, and they did something else. I can't remember if they did Civil War, but I'm pretty sure they started on Winter Soldier. You might be able to, if you click on it.
Yeah, because
should say
before
the
they were all
Russo
like
brothers.
Joss Whedon was directing them, and then they had kind of like a falling out, and now he's going to direct. I think like some of the DC superhero movies now, which probably isn't going to work out.
Yeah, yeah, and then I didn't see Incredible Hulk in theaters. I saw it like probably in like 2017
Oh, okay.
on Netflix.
Oh, that's the
Or it was either Netflix or something like
that's
that.
the Edward Norton one.
Yeah, and I actually liked it. I mean, it's not like the best movie ever, but
Right.
I enjoyed it.
I've seen all of these except both Ant-Man's and Captain Marvel. But
I haven't seen Captain Marvel.
I've
either.
only seen one of these in theaters, and that was Endgame.
I thought you were saying you hadn't seen those. You
No.
were saying in theaters.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen all of these.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
I was
through
gonna say
like
that Endgame probably didn't make sense at all.
no, it's either through like rentals or Netflix. Because I mean, like I didn't even see the Infinity War until it was on Netflix, and Black Panther didn't see it till it was on. I mean, I really don't.
I saw Black Panther on Netflix as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
But they were all really good. I'm not a superhero kind of guy. I didn't like grow up like watching or playing with like action figures or anything like that.
One of my favorite ones in theaters was actually Civil War. That was almost like an Avengers movie without having the Avengers title, because all of them are in it, but they're they're split half and half against each other.
I know, and I hated
incredible.
that. I was like, why? Like, you're supposed to be superheroes on the same side. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's why like I don't know anything about like the Marvel universe, and
it's a lot more because they kind of loosely followed a comic book run that was Civil War, and in the comic book there's a lot more reason for them to be fighting than they made it out. And I think they even kill like Thor dies in that comic, and they have to I think from then on there's like it's some kind of different Thor. It's like Thor, I don't know, from a different universe or something.
And you've got, Kevin Feige is like the puppet master of this whole thing. And he's kind of like the guy that's making sure all these films connect correctly with, if this happens in this film and we need to be consistent across this one. And it's kind of like, people are saying it's like the biggest, Endgame was like a huge accomplishment and unprecedented because it was 22 or 24? Yeah, 22 films led into this one single film. And they were able to, I mean, obviously it's not perfect, but they were able to tie up all those stories into one kind of like finale of, and to me that's just pretty cool in itself.
Yeah, it just takes granted they had a lot of the groundwork done before them with comic books, but it is crazy to think about. I think about it with just like Game of Thrones. I just go back to that because that's something that I actually watch and like follow. But from the start to the finish, there has to be you have to be thinking about that.
Yeah.
You can't just be like in the second Iron Man, be like, oh, I don't know, we'll end somehow or we'll figure something out. It's
Right.
like you have to be, if you're the writer.
Everything you do has consequences later.
Yeah.
For what you're gonna write later.
And I loved Endgame. Like, it was awesome. There was a couple things that I was like kind of confused about, but it's probably just because I don't know stuff about the universe or like certain, like Adam was saying that like there's different runs of comic books that like people die in this version, but they're fine in this version, and it's all over, and you can kind of just pull and read whichever ones that you want, and it's like multiple universes.
So that's
where does Endgame rank for you?
like in movies ever, or in like
in the Marvel world.
Endgame. I thought. See, this is like I think a pretty common opinion. I thought that Infinity War was better, but it kind of had a lot of reason to be better because it was just a part one of a two-parter. They had a lot more. The Russo brothers or whoever wrote it had a lot more opportunity to just do something crazy, not really care about resolving anything, which they didn't. And so I think that gave them a lot of freedom to do a lot of really cool stuff that this one couldn't do because it had to resolve everything. Mm-hmm. So I think it's probably number 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if we haven't, I mean, we're going to say this in the title, spoiler.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into spoilers like immediately right now, so FYI.
Iron Man dies.
Yeah, he did. He died.
I love you 3000.
Were you in the bathroom for that?
Wait. What do you mean he dies?
Oh boy.
I only went to the bathroom 6 times, guys.
Oh.
No, but I'm with you on that. I thought Endgame did everything it needed to do, and it was like technically perfect, but emotionally, it didn't grab me as much as Infinity War did. And I know, like, I kind of agree with, it's the reason that you're talking about is, like, with Infinity War, they were able to do something crazy and just, like, end it with half of the world dead, half of the superheroes dead, people just, and everyone's just, I remember sitting in the theater and just being like, it was dead quiet.
Yeah.
I'm a theater full of 50 people.
And you're like,
there's no one's making
like,
a sound.
They like killed the music too after the dust happened. There's like, okay, no more score either. Like the composer died. And
yeah, exactly. Alan Silvestri just dusted away.
Oh no.
He's like,
there's that Monty Python where they were doing an illustrated scene and they had to cut it short, and so they did like an over the shot of, or over the head shot of the animator just like dying of a heart attack.
But yeah, so I like Endgame. It was good. Like I said, it just, I don't know. It didn't like, there was no surprises to me. And I guess I kind of knew a lot of things. Like I knew that Tony Stark, or that Robert Downey Jr. was ending his, like, what do you call it? Contract.
Mm-hmm.
So that they were going to have to kill him off. So, like, that wasn't a surprise.
But yeah, when they opened up with, like, him and his family, you're just like, well, he's dead. Like, there's no way that they're... Yeah.
He did. Yeah. And what was the other... They, the time travel thing, everyone was talking about time travel before the movie came out. And so it's like, the 3 big things, the time travel, everyone coming back, and Tony dying, I was like, well, there's no surprises in this film for me. It was a fun experience. The visual effects were incredible. The music was incredible. Everything was done well. It was
superheroes win. They have some losses.
Exactly.
Superhero movie.
Yep. And that's what, to me, Infinity War was different, because it was like, well, shoot.
Yeah,
like,
and just killed off
half
the people.
And that was cool. So, that's, for me, it's not my favorite. Infinity War is probably at the top. But Guardians of the Galaxy is probably up there too, because it's just...
Both Guardians are above it for me.
Yeah, I like the first Guardians the best for sure, but...
The first and third Iron Man are probably some of my favorites too.
They started off strong with Iron Man, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They kind of went down.
Well, that character, like Robert Downey Jr., just like, he was like made to play that character.
Yeah, people are saying like, what are they going to do, now that he's gone? Like, who's going to be that anchor of the whole group? And I don't know.
It's supposed to be Captain Marvel, but apparently all her co-stars hate her.
It's because of the Karen haircut.
Yeah. Have you seen, I was watching more of that YouTube channel I was telling you about yesterday about like personality and charisma and stuff. And they were doing a whole thing on her, I guess for the press tour for Endgame. She was like sitting down with Chris Hemsworth. They were just like all kind of traveling in little groups. And everyone that she was with, her interviews were so like cringy to watch, because she's always just trying to like give credit to herself. And these other actors who she's always paired with, who have been in the Marvel universe for like 8 or 10 years, are always just like fed up with her. Like they don't like her, like clearly. And it's kind of they're gonna have to dig themselves out of it, because
Well, they
a lot
oldified
of-
Captain America, so he's out of the picture
and
now
and
too.
even he tweeted before. See, there was a lot of little like outside things that kind of gave away what was going to happen, because he tweeted the actor, one of the Chris's, whichever one he is, Chris Evans,
Chris Evans,
Captain
is
America.
Captain America. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I almost said Chris Pine.
Yeah,
Isn't
I
Star
always
Trek?
I
Star
almost
Trek.
said Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth.
Too many
Chris
Chris's.
Pratt. Yeah, no, they had another podcast I was listening to did like a battle of the Chris's. They're like,
Oh,
which
that's
Chris
funny.
is the sexiest?
Um,
So if you guys want to do that this episode.
Pratt, obviously.
Sure. So the Captain America Chris tweeted out like a picture. He's like, "Oh, this is my last Marvel movie," blah blah blah.
Oh,
Like a long time ago,
Wow.
probably a few months ago. But
surprised I got
so
out.
stuff like that, and then stuff like they already released a trailer for the next Spider-Man movie when Spider-Man was dead.
Dude, that actually ticked me off. I was in the theater seeing something else, and I saw that Spider-Man trailer, and I was like, "Are you serious?" Like,
Oh, the Far From Home?
yeah.
Yeah, there was a bunch of memes that were...
It was even just a teaser, but I'm like, why are you showing him alive when he's technically dead right now?
Yeah.
And we all know he's coming back, sure, but just give
Yeah.
it a second. And I don't know.
They
That
did
ticked me
wait
off.
to
3 weeks, right?
to show. So they showed just a teaser where it was just him kind of swinging around, making jokes with his friends. You don't really know anything. And then once Endgame came out, and then the spoiler embargo stopped, they released the version where it's like the actual trailer, and you see like, oh, Tony Stark is dead, and
It's after,
like
yeah.
it's like they release all that information. So they did intentionally know like, well, this is gonna spoil some things, but they just kind of had to pick which, for the marketing team or whatever,
Yeah.
had to just pick which thing to spoil. And luckily they held back like a bigger one, I think.
I heard they considered, with Endgame, they considered not doing a trailer at all. Like any marketing.
Yeah.
And they eventually decided against it because they're like, yeah, we have to do marketing. We're going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a terrible idea.
But they considered it because they wanted it to be like, you could tell how much the directors cared. They like wanted it to be as much of a surprise as possible. So like I know they tried to do that, but it wasn't happening.
But you can't even... I mean, I get it. Like, yeah, I want it to be a surprise, but... it's a superhero movie. So,
Yeah.
like, it's going to end good because it's superheroes. That's why I don't think I've... Like, these are all great movies, and I enjoy
Yeah.
them, but at the end of the day, I mean, good trumps evil. You know, sure, there's probably some losses that you're like, oh, that was really sad, but there's nothing, like, shocking at the end
It's
of
not
it.
like a Tarantino movie where every scene you're just like,
Yeah.
I literally don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Killing off, like... I mean, they killed
But-
off Iron Man, and
but
that
hey,
was
you know,
sad, but...
You're not always in the mood for a Tarantino movie. It's not like you're going to watch that every day. It's
Right.
Like, so there is a place for this.
Absolutely. Like,
And
there's...
there's a big place, obviously, because it's...
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Massive.
I've got... there's a friend of mine who is probably the most, like, knowledgeable of this whole series, and, like, coming up to it had, like, a list of, like, these are the movies you need to watch in the right order. Like, not necessarily this order, like, in the order of, like, how the stories, like...
Yeah.
Like, you can catch little nuances of what things are doing. And, I mean, he went and saw it, like, 3 times, I think, or, like, within, like... 48 hours of like it being out or something, because he loves it, and there's like an audience for it where, like, you know, if I wasn't married to somebody who loves Marvel, I wouldn't have gone and seen it in theaters. But you know, it was I enjoyed it. There was like a couple of things that like I was confused about, because I've seen almost all of these except the Ant-Man and Captain Marvel. Like the Captain America being able to like wield Thor's hammer, like
Yeah.
that made no sense to me, because I was like, oh, Thor's a god, that's why nobody else can pick up his hammer. But I guess, Adam, you were saying that like in one of the other
Yeah.
movies he like nudges it,
Yeah,
or
Age
something
of
a little
Ultron.
bit. Yeah, see, like, I don't remember that.
Yeah, there's one where they kind of teased that maybe he's almost worthy of doing it, and then it was just like a payoff.
So is that
There-
like
apparently,
known?
So there's like an inscription on Mjolnir, which is the name of that hammer, that says like something along the lines of, "He who is worthy can wield this hammer and will possess the power of
Thor.
Thor."
Or lightning.
So that's why he was able to get lightning to come down.
So then there was like at that moment, there was like two Thors,
Yeah,
or Thor had become not worthy, so that's why.
No, it wasn't
So
that he hadn't become worthy. It was that he had as an addition.
It's more just because Thor wasn't wielding the hammer. It's not. Basically, the hammer has almost like a mind of its own.
Right.
It just like
Okay.
So it was kind of fulfilling Captain America's story arc, because this whole time he's just been like a wholesome guy. Like he's like one of the movies, he's like, don't cuss in front of me or something. It's like kind of played off as a joke, but then so in the movie it's just like, oh, even the hammer has grown to like Captain America over all these movies.
Gotcha.
So it's like, and it was like the hammer coming back because it was destroyed in Ragnarok. So it was kind of like just, it was all fan service, but it was still like the hammer in that moment, because of what was going on and because like the fate of the universe or whatever, decided that Captain America was worthy,
basically.
And there's another comic book run, you probably Google image it, of Captain America wielding the hammer too. So it was a fan service to that, and then to
it was so cool though when Thor like picked both of them up and like put his hands up, the lightning came down, and you're like, dude, it's on.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what you guys thought, but like touching on like the whole fat Thor thing, I thought that was like, oh boom, he's gonna have like his like original
physique
back.
Yeah. Nope. They kept to it. Even when they made him the new suits, I was like, okay, like maybe there's gonna be like a quick montage of him like working out and then he's gonna be fit, but I was like, they straight up kept him fat the whole time, which I thought was hilarious.
And he I guess because he's not out yet, Chris Hemsworth, I think they're gonna do, he's just gonna become a Guardian of the Galaxy.
Yeah, because he's now with
on the ship.
He called them the Asgardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That scene was great.
So funny.
That scene was so. He goes. He's like, I'm in charge. He's like, sure.
Okay.
You're like, oh, this is gonna make a great third movie.
Oh, yeah.
I'll probably see that in theaters because Casey likes the funnier ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I think I'm with
like
Casey on
any funny one, she's like down to go. Like,
yeah.
She likes it more than the serious ones. So it's like we're gonna be there if it's.
We should all three go see it.
Yeah, we should.
So,
6.
Talking about like, were there any? Let's talk about like the plot.
Sure.
Now that we've crossed the spoiler threshold, so were there any spots that you guys thought like, oh, like plot holes or questions that? Because I know we all came away with questions of like, wait, why did they do this? Or I don't get that. Maybe we can feel each other's.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. When I came out of it, I had like probably 3 things that kind of bugged me. Now I'm only remembering one, but the main thing that bugged me was, and this is going to be like a lot of people, this is like their favorite scene, but the portal scene. Whenever it got to that scene, I didn't feel like they had earned that big of a battle, and even saying that, I'm like, you could easily argue that they've earned it over 22 films, you know. But in this film, where they were building, I just didn't think they had earned that battle. Like, if you think about Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, like, you see the armies approaching for the whole thing. You know what I mean? And then, like, when they come together in that scene, you're ready for it. Whereas in this, I felt like Thanos came out of the past, you know, teleported into this spot, and then the 3 of them start fighting him. My mind was blown that the 3 of them couldn't take him down. I didn't realize he was that powerful without the stones. I thought he was only powerful because of the stones.
I know, it was like everybody was saying that, like, it's hard to swallow that he was more powerful without the stones than he was with.
There's a whole thing with so there's Thanos, and he's going, before he has the stones, they show it in the Infinity War, he's going from planet to planet just killing everyone, half of everyone. And he already has this full army. Like, they show the flashback of when Gamora was a little girl, and he's just like killing half of her planet.
Mm-hmm.
And in Infinity War, there's a scene where, you know, he's in like his full like battle armor or whatever. And once he gets more stones on the glove, that's when he starts to take off his armor. He's like, I don't need the armor anymore because I have the glove.
Right.
So in this movie, he like is in full like battle mode or whatever, with not just his powers as a Titan or whatever he is, but just he's kind of giving it all he can still, even though he doesn't have the glove.
I guess with him, like with his power in that scene, this was another one of my, like, just a little bothered me, but like I didn't feel like they set up his amount of power that he was able to take on the three most powerful Avengers, maybe other than Hulk, the three most powerful Avengers together.
Yeah, Captain Marvel was useless.
Or sorry, I guess not. Captain America is not the most powerful, but you know what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
Thor is basically probably one of the most powerful, and then Iron Man has all the gear. So it's like for him to just easily take on the three of them with no problem.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. I was like, that's weird. And I wasn't like expecting that, and I guess I would have rather like been ready and known that he was like hard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but what I was gonna say that bothered me is that all of a sudden, all of his army, like millions of people and these massive ships just come out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, the entire Marvel Cinematic superhero universe comes out of portals. And now we have the most epic battle of all time. And I'm like, dude, this happened this setup for that was 30 seconds. And then they charge at each other.
Yeah.
And I get that it was like, for a lot of people, it was like the best moment in all of Marvel history. But for me, it just like caught me off guard because I'm like I said, Lord of the Rings, like you see them building the armor, you see them building like this army.
You're more like bought into it.
Exactly. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the whole premise of it is like this army's been at it for however many like decades.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how time works across the universe in that universe, but I think they're just trying to imply like, oh, this is what Thanos had this whole time, and it just kind of makes it more like overwhelming. Like you don't know his actual numbers until you see him, and then here they are.
Yeah,
and it's kind of just adds to the hopelessness, I guess.
I mean, not that the movie should have been longer, but if they had somehow been able to set up either one of those sides, and then it goes to the other half of it was the Marvel side or like the superheroes, I was like, how did that play out? Like I heard someone like on a podcast going over it's like, Doctor Strange comes back and he goes portal, Spider-Man, we have to go, portal. Black Panther, we have to get over here, get your whole army. Like within like a period of 5 or 10 minutes from when Hulk snapped to when that battle happened was like 10 minutes because it was in real time.
Yeah.
Like that they fought Thanos for about 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden like, Doctor Strange was able to somehow portal to like every single superhero, every person that you saw show up, and gather them, and like even Black Panther alone. It's like, okay, get all of your troops ready, and we're going through this portal.
Well, I guess in the thing, I thought they were all together.
No, well,
in like
you can
dead realm or something.
It.
I don't know.
So here's, I guess, I don't know if this is like foolproof, but this is kind of how I interpreted it. Like, Doctor Strange knew he looked at all the futures or whatever, and so he already knew exactly what to do. Like, he's like, if I come back, it's that one future. So in that one future, I need to very quickly replicate myself and put how like kind of hologram himself like he does in Doctor Strange. So I need to open the portals here, and so you see when the portals open up, you can kind of see, oh, this one's like clearly Wakanda.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's clearly,
which I thought was
like,
really cool. By the way.
So when you think about it from the Wakandan perspective of like that battle that happened in Infinity War, they're all like fighting Thanos and they're fighting the alien monsters. So what's different for them? You're already fighting a common enemy. You already know Thanos is bad. We need to kill him. We need to team up with the Avengers. Like Black Panther and the Wakandan people are fighting. And then you see a portal open and Doctor Strange's like, okay, now everyone through here. You're just going to do it. You get it. Like the battle's still ongoing.
Oh, that's true. Because they had just been dusted in the middle of battle. Yeah. So I guess that makes a little more sense.
So it was more just like a continuation of the original battle. It's like, okay, now we're here. So for me, it wasn't, he didn't need to sit down and explain the stakes to them. He's like, Thanos, you were all dead. He doesn't need to do that. He's just like, okay, into the portal, now we all go.
Yeah.
And he, it was not just him, but all of the wizards, like the other Benedict wizard, I forget his real name. Or
Juan, I think, or Wong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was him and the two of them, and they kind of make a comment to each other, like, did you get everybody? There was something like that. So for me, it was just like, okay, it's as if the first snap, didn't happen, and now because Doctor Strange knew, he's like, as soon as I'm alive again, I need to do this, and he probably communicated that to his friend. And
for him, it was an instant.
Wasn't there dialogue though, like where something with Spider-Man, where he was like,
Spider-Man
we were just like waiting, and he was like, get ready.
He
or...
was like, he said there was a lot of dust, and then I passed out, and then when I got up, Doctor Strange was telling us to go through the portal.
Yeah,
and we all went through the portal.
Yeah.
So
where was Spider-Man when? Oh, he was on Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
Iron Man.
With Iron Man and
the Guardians
Captain
of the
America,
Galaxy.
not Captain America, but
and Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah.
Yeah. So they all,
So he would have. So they would snap back. This is the other weird thing. Is just like the whole idea of like everyone snapping back. Where do they snap back?
To where they were.
Where they died.
Because that's why there was so many different portals, not just one big
right.
portal.
Mm-hmm.
If there was one big portal, I think that was them telling us, oh, they were all in just this realm of the dead or something.
Mm-hmm.
But because there were so many portals, there was one on Titan, one on Wakanda, probably a million on Earth from just where different Avengers were at the time. And like
the snapping too, like, because like in Infinity War, he snaps, and half the population disappears, and then when Hulk snaps, everybody comes back, and then when Iron Man snaps, all the bad guys, like, so is the snap just whatever the person wants? That's what the snap gives you.
It's like a genie's wish almost.
That's why they were having to remind Hulk. There's a scene.
Try to get Natasha all these things.
At the end, Hulk was talking to Hawkeye or somebody. It's like at Iron Man's funeral, and he's like, I tried to get her back, but it didn't work or something. So it is basically like what you're wanting,
what the user
because you
wants.
Control time and reality. It's like the meme. It's
reality,
like, reality
can be whatever I want. Got it.
So it's whatever you want.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if it was like, it only has like an on and off. So like on,
it's
how
like
many times
this
you
glove
snap,
only kills people, or this glove only.
Yeah,
kills.
like that's what I was like. But I guess that makes sense where he's like, reality can be whatever.
Like you can
I
make
want.
a pizza, but your face is going to be melted. I'm hungry.
So I guess another big piece of the movie was them getting the stones back and how they would do that. Mm-hmm. What did you guys think about the method of storytelling of how they got it back, which was the time travel stuff?
I was concerned because I read through the it got spoiled for me, and then I thought, oh well, I already know so much, so I just read the rest of it, and so when I first kind of started to read the part where they do the time travel and they go back to the 2012 the first Avengers stuff, I got worried because I thought it would be like, those episodes of sitcoms like Friends and Seinfeld where it's just like the best of episode, and they're just sitting on the couch like, remember that one time when we, and then it cuts to that episode.
I hate those so much.
Where they're just trying to save money for a finale or something, so it's just like a recap episode. I was scared it would be kind of like that, where it's like, let's just go through the best of the Marvel movies and the funniest moments and stuff like that. But after a while, it was clear that they were not just going through those times, but shooting whole new scenes and stuff in those areas, which I guess just made those scenes even better. There's just more to think about.
And there was some cool stuff that happened, like Captain America fighting himself. And I was researching it because I was kind of interested in the time travel aspect and how. And I remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about multiverse at the pizza place at Andolini's. So what I found out, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but basically my understanding of the way that time travel works in this film is not like Back to the Future, or remember the butterfly effect with Ashton Kutcher? He stabs his hand in the past with one of those, or he puts his hand on the thing you put paper on, you know what I'm talking about, and then in the future his hand has a hole in it and a wound, or Back to the Future whenever he gets his parents split up, and then all of a sudden, he starts disappearing. So this is completely different thought on how time travel works. So basically, as soon as you let's say you go back in time to a different point in time. You now exist in a different timeline. So you have the original timeline in which you're now gone, and then you have this timeline, which now, depending on when you went, let's say it was a time that you were alive, now there's actually two of you in that timeline. And you could kill yourself, you could kill the other you, and not even
and
if
it wouldn't
in the
affect
past,
you.
and it wouldn't affect you. Because you've now entered a second timeline. So every time they go, but for you, you experience that as one single timeline. No matter how many places you go.
The Hulk was like, if you go back in time, then the future is now your past.
Right.
And then the past is not, and then everything else becomes your future. Because
they were saying, someone was saying like Captain America at one point exists like 4 times.
Yeah.
Because he like goes in the past and he's like frozen. He's returning the stone. He's taking the Pym particles and something else, and he's like 4 of them are there, and then he's
in
like
the 70s, probably,
and he's living his life. You know,
Yeah.
he's living his like best life with his lady. So I thought that was a pretty cool like departure from, you know, I think time travel is like almost a trope now, especially if you do it the way Back to the Future did it, which, you know, Back to the Future came out such a long time ago.
That line where because every time travel movie, like you said, gets compared to Back to the Future. And so, I think it's Ant-Man. When Hulk was explaining to Ant-Man, he's like, no, it doesn't always work like the movies. And he's like, wait, Back to the Future is bull. And they're just like, acknowledged it, but also, you know, said like, well, we're doing our own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have like 10 minutes, by the way, probably, before we need to.
So plot holes, any other questions? I had one.
Yeah.
And it didn't actually come to me until I was sitting there in the movie. But if you're trying to go back in time and pick a point, instead of picking multiple points to gather all of the Infinity Stones, why don't you just send each Avenger, each of those remaining people, to Titan on an Infinity War? And all you have to do you remember that scene in Infinity War where they're fighting Thanos and they're almost getting the glove off of him, and Peter Quill freaks out?
Yeah.
Why don't you just send those remaining Avengers, like, so the Hulk will be there, like they'll have 2 Iron Mans, I think 1 Captain America, basically everybody's left. Instead of having to stop Thanos, why don't you just send all of them to stop Peter Quill and say like, hey, stop, don't let them get the glove off, and then you just, you know, use one of those Doctor Strange portals to like cut off Thanos' arm or his head or like kill him there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Stop the snap completely. It wouldn't bring Gamora back, but
It
Well, then the movie wouldn't have been 3 hours.
It wouldn't make for as long of a movie.
I know, but I'm saying if you're them, like, you could do that, and then you could use the snap with Hulk to snap Gamora back, because you still have the Infinity Gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could use the snap
in that timeline, Gamora is permanently gone
With
in the
the
same
Soul
way that
Stone.
Natasha is. But you
Yeah.
could go back and, like, what they did was they got the Gamora from a different timeline is now which I think is kind of interesting.
And still hates
Yeah,
Peter.
exactly.
That's probably going to be the...
He's got to win her back again.
What'd you guys think of the Hulk? What is it? What'd you call it? Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of Professor Hulk?
I thought it was hilarious. I like his temperament in that character. I don't know, because when I kind of thought like the Bruce Banner, like, at least in the last one, it was just so like mopey and like, woe is me. It was just kind of pissed me off. I was like, this is stupid. But this is like he's like come to like terms with like both sides. I liked it.
My favorite Hulk is Ragnarok, where he's Hulk the entire time.
Or he's auto-tuned the entire time?
Yeah, but like he's like
We looked that up. Have you
He's
seen
dumb
that?
Hulk. Like he's dumb Hulk the entire time. He's never Bruce Banner. He forgot he's Bruce Banner, and it's hilarious.
That fits that movie though, because that movie is
Yeah.
Well, and it's supposed to be 5 years later, so it's like your characters aren't all going to be the same. Like,
No.
Thor's going to be fat,
Sure.
Hulk's going to be smart,
Right.
and so the Professor Hulk thing is another run of the comics where he's he's come to terms.
I didn't
with
understand how he did that. Did it? I mean, he barely kind of explained it in the film.
I think in the comics, it's just like starts that he's that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's an explanation.
I mean, like there was multiple times like where in the other one where he was like almost get there, like it's like couldn't just get mad enough, and it's on because like when the Hulk is the Hulk, you're not talking to Bruce, you're talking to the Hulk.
Right.
So it's like the Hulk and Bruce like
They're two beings.
came to and like had this like agreement or conversation,
Right.
I guess,
I
and
think-
they were just like, no, we're good.
I think he said something like, when the Hulk was scared to come out, like he said like we worked together, or we like they had some kind of like progression over 5 years that he kind of mentioned, like we didn't want that to happen again, or we were embarrassed about it, or we were whatever. So they, yeah, I don't know, but it's more forgivable when you have a 5-year time difference as opposed to it's just like the next day. Now we're like this, the very next day.
Yeah. What did you guys think about the death of Black Widow?
I thought that one was like, it was sad that they didn't have like a funeral for her too. Did you notice that? They had a big funeral for Tony Stark.
Oh
And
man,
Nothing.
Well, do you see a Black Widow movie on here?
There's about to be one.
dude, that is actually a good point.
It's probably going to be
They
a prequel.
didn't have a funeral for the woman, but they did for the man.
All right, well, don't
Sexism.
do that.
Russo's,
Oh boy.
shame on you.
But yeah, I guess I thought it was sad.
You think
When
if
you-
Hawkeye had died in
yeah.
that scene, there had been a funeral for him? I think so.
Probably because he has a family.
Yeah, he is a fan.
Well, I thought I thought it
didn't
was
they have
super sad.
I thought they did something right after that. They did.
What?
They did have some kind of little.
Yeah, they did. They pushed the boat.
Yeah, so
in
they
the
had
water.
something. It just wasn't as big of a deal.
Well, and it's nothing to do with the fact that she's a female, but like, it's Iron Man. Like, of course they're gonna have a big ceremony for Iron Man.
What
because,
if it was Iron Woman
I mean,
There is an Iron
there
Woman
is.
now.
or Iron
Pepper.
Shim?
A what? Iron Chef?
Iron Shim.
Iron It.
Iron Shim, the gender neutral Iron. The gender neutral
Oh,
robot.
I see what you're saying. Like a Zimzer.
Gender fluid Iron person.
A gender fluid superhero. It's coming.
Iron She. He, she.
We just lost our audience again. Dang it.
Not sure.
It's always
was
that.
out.
It's always that demographic that we lose.
What do you mean that demographic?
Yeah, Adam.
Sorry.
What do you mean Black Panther?
What do you mean Iron Man? What do you have against copper and lead?
What do you have against? What about Copper Woman?
But what were you saying? Oh,
Well, she's supposed to have a movie, right? And so
yeah.
and they
So
killed her
it's
off.
probably going to be a prequel, which is I think what most people are thinking. But it could
like
be
her,
just
her
a thing.
story of
Because if they revive her, it's just like
it's like, come on, guys,
Well,
make something.
and
from
it's
her.
not like she was like turned into dust. She was like
she was dead.
like
Well, she was
dead.
soul stone dead. That's that's as dead as you get.
there's no coming back from
her
that.
noggin was split open. She's just the blood pouring out.
And it's like,
Yeah, I was actually kind of like, oh wow, they showed that. That was. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't like up
Um,
close, but it was like, oh.
Yeah, and I was gonna say something.
did we cover all the major characters?
I think so.
Captain
think we
America
covered-
gets old. Iron Man, Black Widow dead. Everyone else normal and fine.
Hulk. We talked
Yeah.
about Hulk. We talked about
Hulk
Fat Thor.
fat. Hulk yeah. Hulk
Thor.
green. Thor fat.
Hulk green. Thor fat.
I think
Everybody else. Okay, another big thing. Captain Marvel. She comes in and she's all acting all snarky to them.
Yeah.
She has a line where she's like, one of the guys was like, "What are you
have you
doing
been?
here? Where have you been? Like, who are you?" And she's like, "There are bigger problems in the universe
Yeah.
or there are more planets than just this." It's like,
Right.
what problem is bigger than half of not just Earth but the universe?
every other place that you're
Dying.
trying to help.
The little civil
gonna-
war on some tiny planet that you're trying to is not bigger than half of life on all these. So I thought that was silly.
Everything that you would do to try and help that is
Well-
going to be negated by the fact if he snaps.
So
Yeah.
they had a power problem with her. She's too powerful.
Yeah,
That's why they couldn't have her around the whole time.
Just
Because
think of
literally,
the Karen
think about it.
haircut.
yeah.
Think about how she can like blast. She can literally just blast through an entire ship. So imagine what she can do on the ground.
And if she wants to, she can talk to the manager.
So that was one thing. I was
The
going to say
Karen meme.
something about that. ending though. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh well. I'll dub it in if I think of it later.
Before we end, we have to talk about Tackett's bathroom break.
Oh, that's right.
This is what I was. Let's see if I can find.
Oh, I did think it was sad while he's pulling that up. What's this?
Karen, Super Karen.
Captain Karen?
Is that a haircut?
Where are we, Carol?
Is that a certain kind of haircut?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
you know, like this haircut, it's like,
Is that
always
the-
wants to talk to the manager. Can I speak to the manager, please? And then you have Super
Karen, which we covered last episode, is. Just
Why did she have a haircut? Oh, because it was 5 years later. They had to make everyone look different.
Yeah.
That's why she had a
Yeah,
haircut.
see?
Yeah.
Oh,
Captain
man.
Marvel looks like she wants to speak to Thor's manager.
It's funny because it was already a meme before this movie. And they just
They just leaned into it.
leaned into it, I don't think on purpose, but it was just fitting because of. I don't know. They kind of stumbled.
It
into
is
the-
another point I heard someone make was it's interesting though, like the Avengers are going this next, like let's say they have another Avengers movie with this next wave, it's going to be a lot more diverse just by default.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Black Panther, you're going to have
The new Captain America.
Marvel, the new Captain America,
Which I don't even know that dude's
there's
name.
I forgot there's an Asian superhero that's coming. I forgot the name. He's like a super kung fu kind of guy. I don't know. He's coming though.
That's racist. Don't just assume that he's
Kung
going
fu
to...
is an art. Anyway, my point is, it's going to be a lot less white male.
He compliments Kung Fu so that he's not right. Kung Fu is an art. Okay, so I was going to say, and this is just a little... when we're talking about Black Widow not having a funeral, obviously Tony Stark has a family and a company and lots of people that he knows. When they're on that planet where Black Widow dies, and it's her and Hawkeye, and he's like, Hawkeye, son of blah, 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 son of Paul,
Right.
and so, and Black Widow, or like Natasha, son of, or daughter of blah, 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 and he's like, they're talking about, should we trust this guy? He's like, Hawkeye's like, he knew who my parents were, I guess he's pretty, and, no, he's like, he knew who your parents were, and she's like, I didn't know their names.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, she doesn't have any family.
And
or
even in
anybody to...
the office scene, like in the very beginning, when like she's like, I don't like, she doesn't have anybody. Like,
Yeah.
there's nobody.
She was like a Hydra agent, and then she turned good.
What's your
Yeah.
point
So
though?
now
Like
she doesn't know anybody.
Yeah.
she should have been the one to die over Hawkeye. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
But
Because you got.
I think we're talking about her not having a funeral.
Which
It's
she still did.
yeah.
No, but it wasn't, and it was
Her
you know
friends.
pre-snap.
Right.
So like there was only half of the team there.
Yeah.
So it was
Right.
You know,
So everyone who was, she doesn't have anybody outside of them to even care.
right.
Which is, I think, what they were trying to illustrate.
Yeah.
Which is kind of makes it even more sad.
We
We're
should
almost,
wrap up though.
We're almost done. It's filmed in front of a live
I think
video audience.
I think we covered it.
But real quick, Taggett went to the bathroom
Oh, that's right.
at a point that he
I
thought,
went to the bathroom whenever Iron Man was talking to his dad,
and you thought that was a good time.
and I came back and he was still talking to his dad.
Yeah, but like 30 minutes later.
And you guys have yet to. No, it wasn't 30 minutes. It was literally a minute. You've yet to tell me anything important that happened during that time. So I still hold to that was a good time to go. What happened?
Here's the thing: if you were working on a movie for a year of your life in post,
Mm-hmm.
would you be upset that someone left halfway through it and then said, nothing important happened"?
People go to the bathroom. What are you talking about?
I don't remember there being like anything that was life changing in that
Nothing
scene.
life-changing happened.
But
It was a good time.
it was
Trust me, I go to the bathroom in the perfect time of every movie because it's an art that I have perfected at this point.
How can you have perfected it when you haven't seen the movie? You're just guessing.
I basically my strategy is whenever they're having a conversation that looks like it's going to kind of drone on and it's a non-action type of point, it doesn't look like anything's being learned or anything new. That's usually when I leave.
Here's another interesting. That makes me feel better, and that you have a strategy and you think about it. But What if your strategy was to go before the movie starts, so you don't miss any of it?
I did. I went right before. I didn't drink water for an hour before, and I went right before, and I still had to go halfway.
Well, all in all, it was a good movie. Enjoyed it. I'll probably get the box set when they release.
I know.
Have you seen the concept art for it? It's pretty cool.
Like, is it like all
22
20
movies?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
I gotta get that.
Yeah.
I gotta get that for sure.
So I'm excited. It'll be good.
Yeah. So where did they go from here? You guys think?
Yeah, where do they go from here? I mean, one of you guys was saying like, oh no, it was actually Chris when I was talking to him about Marvel. He was like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
they wrapped it up. I don't need to see any more, and that's almost a scary thing.
Well, there's never gonna. I mean, I say this. I don't think there's ever gonna be another like, hey, let's get the band back together type of movie. I don't feel like there needs to be. Like, it would be
I feel like
just.
they could still build back to that, and they probably will.
Well, yeah, but look at how long that like original build took.
Yeah.
2008.
But
So
I mean, that's
a lot of those characters though are still there, and you could build them back in.
here's,
You know
I
what
think
mean?
from like a real life filmmaking standpoint, and from like an in-universe storytelling standpoint. First of all, like, it's not easy to build something over 10 years, and that's why the appeal of this is so good. So technically, yeah, they probably could, but the likelihood of them doing it just as well is very, very low.
Mhm.
And then from the storytelling perspective, once you have somebody like Thanos who's capable of destroying the universe, and he was about to, he's like, when he got the glove, he's like, I'm just gonna end all of it, and
Yeah.
it's just gonna start back.
How do you get the stakes higher than
from
that?
one
Yeah.
molecule? It's just
they built it up.
evolution's just gonna restart.
So,
And so when you have something that can destroy the universe, like, what are you gonna fight? Like
Wait,
Hydra?
I got it. Instead of destroying half the universe, 3/4 of the universe. Kevin Feige, if you're listening,
It's gonna be another one of those clips where we just they're attacking.
That is the sound of our door opening that is letting out the truck.
and with that, we'll see you next week.
Next week, can we say that?
Shh, it's next week. Even though we're gonna be wearing the same.
In the next episode, we're all gonna be wearing the same clothes, but that's just a coincidence. Don't believe that.
It's another timeline.
It's another timeline. It's like, what's the timeline like if we never saw?
Okay,
it
everyone
anymore?
stand still. I'm gonna make us all dust in this scene.
Okay.
Are you actually gonna take the time and make us turn?
No,
into
you're
dust?
not gonna do that.
You're just gonna make us. You're gonna crossfade us, aren't
You
you?
haven't even made our music yet.
Hold on, everyone, get out of the camera
Okay,
frame.
hold on, wait. We
You
have to
ready?
snap first.
Okay, ready, go.
Wait, what does he say? I am Iron Man.
Say it.
He says, "I am inevitable."
I am inevitable.
Okay, now get out of the frame.
Wait, did we move our chairs?
You guys have officially made me world's